Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm Mike B, and I'm going to be redoing a video that I had made a while back. I feel a little bit more prepared in this video. Basically, I'm just going to be letting you guys know what the difference between an M16, XM16E1, and an M16a1 is. All three of those rifles were used in the Vietnam War. I'll tell you what years they were used and why certain things changed on them. So we're going to start out here with the what is the Colt model 604, but it's referred to as the M16, right? This is what the Air Force was using first in 1961 or 62. They began using the M16, and what you notice about this is that there is no forward assist, right? And this is a reproduction Brownell's receiver. There's no fencing, there's no anything, there's no spring to hold the front pin, takedown pin in. So it's got to have a little detent on it in itself. So you'll see these commonly referred to as the slick side ARs, and these were used by the Air Force and then later on other branches using like the Navy and stuff. Throughout the entire Vietnam War, there's been pictures of slick sides being used all the way through the 90s. I wouldn't be surprised if there's one floating around there today in service. So basically, the M16. I won't go through the whole history of the rifle itself and the politics and whatnot, but yeah, so anyway, you've got the fiberglass buttstock. The Colt model 601 that the Air Force ordered really early on had a different flash hider on it, and the stock was olive drab and stuff like that. But this is the one that was ordered in large numbers, which makes it more recognizable and kind of more common. So you'll notice this too has the 3-prong flash hider. Right, the triangle grips, and the lack of the forward assist means one thing that's pretty interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and just take the rear pin out here and show you that the bolt carrier group, which was chromed as well, does not have chatter marks on the side for the forward assist, right? Because you'd think that, you're so used to seeing them now because basically every rifle's got a forward assist on it, every AR. But the original bolt carrier group also, this is a repro from Brownell's, but the original style was just like this and didn't have any chatter marks in there for the forward assist. The chrome line bolt, chrome plated bolt was kind of something to negate the fact that you take every round you take a bit of carbon into the bolt carrier group and upper receiver. So I think that chrome plating was just to kind of negate that a little bit. We'll talk about later why it really didn't matter. But yeah, that's pretty cool on the model 604. So the Army wanted these after a little bit, and they started testing these, the M16 or the Colt model 604, and they found out that they were having some issues out in the field, such as malfunctions, the bolt not going back into battery, trying to take it apart under fire. And if you try to take this apart when the bolt's not in battery, it's not going to come apart. So there's a lot of stories, a lot of people dying or whatnot. I don't know if the numbers are exact, is accurate and high as what people claim, but there were definitely people who died, lost their lives because their rifle stopped working. So that happened, and the Army said, okay, well, we'll take 85,000 of these, but we want the forward assist on there. So that was called the XM16E1. I'll just set this back down. And that is essentially the same rifle. This whole thing is a reproduction from Brownell's. That last one, the Colt model 604, the upper receivers, and original Colt model 604, the rest of the weapons, the pistol grip and the stock original, but the receiver and the parts and stuff are repro. So this is a completely reproduction rifle, but it's a very accurate one. So they saw the need for a couple changes, one being obviously the forward assist, right? Still use the standard 20-round magazine. One being the forward assist, right? And this is going to be the teardrop forward assist, okay? And unlike the 604, this was called the model 603, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. That's the Colt model, but the Army called it the XM16E1, right? So you've still got no fencing around the actual mag release button, but you've got what's called a half fence right here that contains the little spring and the detent to hold the front takedown pin in. So that's a noticeable difference. It also allows you to have easier access to close the dust cover because it rests on there and it isn't completely flat and you don't have to reach for it. I mean, that really doesn't matter that much, but it's kind of more convenient this way. So you still got the triangle grips right here, the 1 in 12 twist in the barrel. I forgot to mention that, but both of these had a 1 in 12 rifling rate, which they were designed for the M193 55 grain bullet. 3-prong flash hider. The sights are going to be identical. Basically, this is an M16 with a forward assist. And also, I'll take this one apart a little bit, hopefully, and I'll show you that the bolt carrier is still going to be chrome, right? But it will have chatter marks in it for the forward assist, so that's a big difference as well. So very interesting. And this is going to be the XM16E1, which was also used in like 1963. That's when the Army bought 85,000 of them, and this is going to be used till the end of the war. Now, some issues they had: rounds getting stuck in the chamber because there's dirt and a lot of stuff, a lot of mud, a lot of rain in Vietnam. And so people were having issues with that, the carbon buildup, and then the ammunition was actually a huge problem because they changed the powder without really letting anybody know, and that caused it to foul up a lot more. And they didn't issue a lot of cleaning kits because it was a self-cleaning rifle. This is for both the 16 and the 16E1. So in 1966 and 67, the Army said, okay, well, we need to come up with an M16 that has all these problems corrected. So they did, and that's where you get the M16a1. Now you notice, I mean, from a distance it looks very similar. It's still an M16. It's got the triangle hand grip, the hand guard and the carry handle. It's got a forward assist on it, right? Looks the same until you get to the little details, like the actual fencing around the magazine button right here. You can see that was designed so it would stop from accidentally pushing the button on something or with your finger or something. And that's consistent with the M16A2 as well, and the M4s and all modern ARs are going to have the fencing around the button. So that's pretty interesting. And then you've still got the fencing right here, half fence. And what you notice is that bolt is not chrome anymore. So they figured out that what actually needed to be chromed was the bore and the chamber, because that actually stopped a lot of malfunctions, whereas it didn't really matter if the bolt was chrome plated or finished or not, because you're still going to get a little bit of carbon back there, and then they addressed the powder issue. So basically, you've got the XM16E1 and the M16 coming out to turn into this. Another thing is there's the buttstock changed. I don't know if I showed you this on the 16 and 16E1. It's the Delta style where it's just the rubber butt pad and the screw. The M16A1 is going to have a door right here that allows you to put a cleaning kit in there. That was also on the A2 variant. And then another thing that you'll notice is the flash hider turned into the birdcage flash hider. So you don't have that 3-prong anymore because it tended to get caught on things. That's what people said, even though it actually worked better than this one. And they still changed that out. So this is an actual M16a1 Parts Kit, completely surplus, built on a reproduction Brownell's A1 receiver. So all three of these rifles are going to have this kind of reinforcement right here, that looks just like that. And then the A2 variants are going to have the extra reinforcement, so you're not going to actually see this little spring channel as much. You're going to actually just see like a more rounded, kind of like the other side of the receiver, but it's a little bit built up because apparently that was a weak point on the receiver, and they decided to change that on the A2. But on the A1 and the 16 and the 16E1, you're going to just see that little channel right there. So that's pretty indicative of older, like A1 variant and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what we've got basically. The bore on this is still a 1 in 12 twist, so it uses the 193 ammunition, 55 grain. All these do have a straight slip ring too, not the tapered ones like the later A2 style. Still a fixed carry handle, all that stuff. Pretty cool weapons actually. They're an AR. They're pretty standard as far as just shooting and stuff. It's just like shooting any 20-inch AR. But it's a very nice weapon historically. I'm pretty glad to have built this A1 on an actual surplus parts kit. You can see it's Colt marked and everything, and The barrel is actually new. It's a Mossberg barrel that I can actually shoot M855 out of because it's a 1 in 8 twist. But anyway, yes, I guess it's not totally original, but everything minus the barrel and the lower receiver and some of the firing control group components are surplus, which is pretty cool. So anyway, I'll stop ranting about that. If you got any questions, feel free to ask. I'm not a total expert on this. This is just what I've learned and surmised in the past about a year, few months, 9 months to a year. And I've been getting into these and actually have all 3 variants right now. Eventually I'll probably get into like the XM16 and 177E1s, and then the hell's the one that came before that? It's basically an M16, but the muzzle's right here, the end of the muzzle's right here. That was their attempt at a carbine. Brownells makes a repro. But yeah, I'll eventually get into that stuff. These are the 3 main M16 variants you're gonna find soldiers carrying in both, or all branches rather, through the Vietnam War and actually into the 1980s. In 1983, the Marine Corps adopted the M16a2, and in 1986, the Army followed. But you're still gonna see A1s being used through Somalia, actually. So very interesting. Hope you learned something. I hope this was a little bit more prepared than my last video on this, but yeah, I kind of screwed up on the last one and shit the bed, and trying to make up for it on this one by doing a better job at conveying what the differences are between all of these and how to tell the difference. So feel free to back up. I'll do one little recap right here. So the A1, we've started at the back. You got the butt plate with the door in it for the cleaning kit compartment. Still a no notch right here, that's all the same. A1's gonna have that little thing right there, a forward assist, and the full fencing around the magazine release, as well as not having a chrome bolt. It's just got a phosphate or whatever you want to call that finish on it. It's got the flat slip ring, not the tapered one, triangle handguards, front sight, and then the birdcage flash hider, which is the A1. And that's basically how you tell the A1, and they were used from 1967 until the end. We'll set this down, grab the XM16E1, start at the back. You got the Delta style butt stock. These were also used on early A1s, but these are the actual differences in like the official design. So you got the Delta style stock, and then we've got the teardrop forward assist, kind of like the A1, straight handle. Half fencing right here, so there's no fencing around the actual mag release button, but there is that little ridge right there. Yeah, the flat slipper again, triangle handguards, 3-prong flash hider, again a 1 in 12 twist barrel, and it's going to have a chrome bolt carrier group with the chatter marks on the side for the forward assist. Alright, so that's the XM16E1 that was primarily used by the Army, and the other branches got it. And we'll back up to the Colt Model 604 or the M16. So we're going to start out back here. You got the Delta style butt plate, or butt stock rather. Straight, little reinforcement right there. Absolutely no fencing right here. Totally slick, no forward assist. Pull the bolt back. It's going to have a smooth, non-chatter marked chrome bolt. And see, this is kind of it's a pain. It's definitely different if you're used to just kind of going from the other side and flipping it. It's something to get used to. But anyway, so we got the flat slip ring, or not slip ring, but that is a slip ring, isn't it? Yep, the flat ring, triangle handguards, and the 3-prong flash hider with a 1 in 12 non-chrome barrel. And yeah, that's about it. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention as well. This is actually an incorrect, what the hell is it called? Incorrect selector switch, because the early ones are going to have a little hole in there on like the M16s. I'm going to actually get a correct one, but and then you'll see on the M16 and the XM16E1 they're just smooth. There's no notch like there is on an A2. They're just smooth fire selectors on the other side, so you're not going to see what your weapon's actually on from the right side of the receiver. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. If you made it this far, that's a little Easter egg. But all right, cool. So hopefully that answered some questions. A nice little recap there. It's really cool to have all these. Definitely be doing some range time with all of them. I mean, it's pretty boring because they are all just 20-inch ARs, and they'll probably shoot fine. It'll be fun to sight them in and whatever, and get these babies talking again. Yeah, so that's all I got. I really appreciate you watching. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. And let me know how I did. Hopefully I did a better job. I think I did. I was a little bit more prepared, and now I actually have an example of all 3 so I can show you what, you know, the M16, the XM16E1, even though they just call it the M16, like the soldiers. And then the A1 was kind of like the perfected version of the M16. So there we go. I appreciate you watching, everybody. Consider supporting the channel. You can check out how to do that in the description. I have a Patreon and some other stuff. If not, it's totally fine, but just consider checking that out. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next video.